So, Uwanma Odefa will share her own experience. So, welcome.
Hi everyone. Interestingly, when I was asked to make this or be a part of this, I still had a job. So the perspective was going to be different in terms of what I, as a hiring manager or a recruiter, what tips I would give. So now it's sort of a mix because I'm applying my own tips and I'm going to share with you what the journey is like so far. So, yeah, I sort of split this into how it started, which is my origin story, how it's going at the moment, and how it should end. Fingers crossed. So, how it started, I think most foreigners always get asked this question: why are you here? Or why here? Why Estonia? And my response is always that I've always wanted to live in Europe, and I've always wanted to do it in a nice, quiet country without, political drama, global political drama, and speaks English to some extent. And then a friend of mine, and then COVID happened, and this is something I'd been putting off for years. And then COVID happened, and everybody's like, "Oh, the world is about to end. You got to live life now." And then I decided to do it. And then a friend of mine said, "Why don't come to Estonia?" And at first I was like, "Estonia sounds vaguely familiar." I did some research, I liked what I saw, and then I thought, why not kill two birds with one stone? I've been wanting to do my master's degree. And so I found a school, packed a bag, and here I am. And it's a little less than 2 years. I'm not quite 2 years here yet. So it's been quite a ride, a great ride. And to a large extent, positive. So I'm happy to be here. And then I think I would say that finding a job in the first place was a little tricky. Um, but I leveraged LinkedIn, the usual tools, network, which is something I believe greatly in, which leads me to my second point of the network and the tools that I use to find a job when I first arrived. I believe very strongly in personal networks, in human networks, and then tools that sort of support this because I believe that you get jobs, people hire people they connect with even during an interview, even if it's a total stranger. But if the interviewer doesn't connect with you, chances are you won't get the job. So I always believe in putting myself in a position where I can find a personal connection with the person. And so what I started to do as soon as I arrived was join associations and groups and attend events a lot, especially ones that were competitive, where you had to be put in groups. So my very first job was I found it through LinkedIn with HRC International. It's an Italian company that was setting up an office here. And the person I interviewed with, Helen Parley, we're still great friends till today. And we had a very great connection. And she kept telling me, "Look, you're overqualified for this job. Let me find you something else." And I'm like, "Just give this to me while you're finding something else," because I believe a bird in the hand is better than several in the bush. So I got that one. We were working together. While I was doing that, I was studying, and the schools were always having hackathons and stuff like that. And I'm registering for everything. And it's not just registering, you have to show up and show out. So I was an active member of these hackathons. I was leading the teams, I was speaking for the teams, and that's how I got the next job when I was laid off from that first job. They decided that the Estonian office wasn't generating as much revenue as they would like, so they were shutting it down. And about 3 months later, I got my next job, and it was through a connection I had made during the hackathon. One of the companies, XFly, it's XFly and Nordica, an aviation company. They were sponsoring one of the hackathon topics, and since I was sharing my team, and we went on to make it to top three. And when they needed someone in HR, they remembered me, and that's how I got the job. And so yeah, and I've maintained my networks and the tools that I applied the first time, even with the second job, and that has greatly helped, or that greatly helped. And then the journey of employment was great. I mean, I'm not sure what I can say regarding the journey of employment, except that I participated with a lot of things at work. I volunteered a lot because I'm generally that kind of person who's, yeah, sometimes I can be a bit too much, but better to be too much than too little, I always say. So, and then I took advantage of having a job to put myself out there and also put my company out there. So I was invited a lot to speak to professional topics related to my job, topics related to the industry that I worked in, which is the aviation industry, and just personal perspectives on certain topics. So the more I do that, the more visibility I get, and that always helps with building your career or establishing your career. And then how it's going so far. So yes, I got laid off. It's just been a month now, so not that long, still fresh in my memory. And it was due to my contract ending and then the company restructuring. If you've been up to date with the news, the company has been in the news a bit lately with some struggles. So that happened, and now I'm in the labor market, applying the tips I've been giving other people. And it's always easier to advise than to take your own advice, but hey, what can we do? We just have to do it. And then in the taking of your advice, you can figure out what actually works and what doesn't. So it's a great learning experience so far. So yeah, I would say the tools of unemployment. I think I would sort of flip it and go to the struggle of motivation, because it's not easy being unemployed. It's as much as we try to put a brave face on it, it can be hard. So the first thing I'm going to say is you're not alone, and the fact that there are people in this room is already a start to tell you that you're not alone. And if you go to LinkedIn and look at all the posts, chances are you see stories of people who are also getting laid off, who are losing their jobs, who are job seeking and job hunting. So there are so many people who are looking for a job. So first things first, you're not alone. There are many people who are in the same boat as you. Then secondly, I would say it's okay to feel whatever it is that you're feeling. Angry, anxious, afraid, bitter, despondent, whatever it is. It's okay to feel that way for a time. Then you have to get off your butt and do the work, especially for us foreigners, because you're on a time limit. There's a clock to how long you can be here without a job. So you can't, sink into self-pity and depression like a local can, because they've got the time. You don't. So you need to be realistic about what your options are. And that's what I tried to do. I mean, the first few weeks it was all, oh God, who is me? Why me? The world is coming to an end, blah, blah, blah. And you're sad and you stay on your couch, Netflixing and chilling and eating ice cream for a few days, just feeling generally, sad and pitiful. But then you remember, okay, if you don't want to pack your bags, you have to find a job. And then you have to get out, shower, and show up. So I always say, I sort of break it into, will I say, a three-phased approach. So I break things into people, process, and place, which is my environment. So now for people, to help with motivation, you have to surround yourself with positive thinking people. And so friends, fellow professionals, people you've worked with, you have to keep close to them, talk to them, and just stay visible where people can see you, whether it's online or physical. Coffee once in a while with these people just to catch up. And then for process, you have to have a process for how you're going to look for a job, the companies you would like to work with, the kinds of jobs you would like to do, the kinds of people you would like to work with, and so on and so forth. So it sort of gives you direction. At least it gives me direction. And then place, which is environment. Put yourself in an environmental or in a place where your motivation doesn't completely die out because you have to keep renewing it. And one of the ways I do that is by getting out of the house to, even if it's go somewhere with my laptop to apply for jobs, but do it outside of the house, because when you're at home you just tend to just want to close yourself off. So I get up most times, shower, dress up like I'm going somewhere important, even if it's not, and then go sit somewhere with a laptop, and then it just gives you that motivation to, do something about your situation. Now, for the tools of employment, these are sort of tools, but the real tools for me, first of all, is spreadsheets. I'm the kind of person, I like things organized. So I have a spreadsheet for unemployment. I remember the first time I told a friend that, they laughed so hard, but I have an Excel sheet where I have a list of the companies I've applied to, the jobs I applied for in each company, whether I've received an acknowledgement for my application, what the verdict was, did I get rejected, did I get an interview, and if I have had an interview, I have a comment section for what next. So when you have that, it still feels like you're kind of working. It gives you focus, it gives you direction, and it helps you keep track of who you've applied to, what it was you applied for. There's nothing recruiters dislike more, and I'm speaking from experience as a recruiter, than someone who's applied for the same job over and over again. Like, duh, you tried before, it didn't work out. Give it at least some months before you try again. So keep track with those tools. And then LinkedIn for me is a great resource as well, because I'm an active user of LinkedIn, and it's a major tool we use back in Nigeria. And Estonians don't use it as much as we do back home, but it's growing in usage. So there's a lot more vacancies that are going on there. I'm building my network there a lot as well, because a lot of the people I know are on LinkedIn. And then, I'm part of the Estonian HR Society, also even part of I'm one of their LinkedIn managers. So I'm visible and active on LinkedIn, and I have found a lot of openings there. And it's easy to also reach out to the hiring managers, just like Lema said, that Estonians are a bit conservative, so sometimes you have to go the next step, reach out to them and let them know, hey, I've applied for this job, and what do you think, blah blah blah, have a conversation. I think a lot of them appreciate it. Some maybe not so much, they just think you're bothering me, just apply and leave it alone. But you gotta try, right? And then I also use Meet Frank. I think it's called Otto. Yeah. And then Work in Estonia's job site is also a great place, cv.ee. These are places, tools that I also use, and for my job application. So far, I have had 2 interviews, which was just in the past week. The greatest barrier is Estonian language proficiency, which I'm also working on. I'm taking classes. I attend the Estonian language cafe. I do a lot of TikTok videos where I'm speaking Estonian language to the best of my ability, and having the whole Estonia teaching me how to say it right. So I'm making the effort to find to bridge the gap that I have in my CV, which is essentially the language proficiency. And so those are the things that you should try to do, in terms of that I'm doing, in terms of finding a job in this situation. And I'm hoping that I stay motivated, because motivation dips and ebbs and all that. So you have to continually work on being motivated, constantly upskill in the course of applying for jobs. Just from the job descriptions or even from interview feedback, you can tell where your gaps are in the market that you want to play in. So once you've identified what those gaps are, then you have to upskill, fill those gaps. Thankfully, we've got the unemployment fund to help. And if that isn't applicable to you, or if you don't, if you're not eligible for the support that they can give. Then there's so many free courses you can find online. LinkedIn offers quite a lot. Udemy, Coursera, you can find a lot of courses on these platforms that would help you upskill. And if it's language, there are so many even free Estonian language programs that you can take here. Currently, I'm adding project management certification to my skills, business analysis to my skills, and Estonian language to my skills, because hey, you have to come guns blazing. You have to just be as much as you can be. And then networking, that's also very important. I always say that if you belong to a certain profession, then you should be part of the profession's associations or groups. Someone had asked about marketing, so my first response would have been exactly what she said: join the marketing association in Estonia. My experience, my career is in human resources. I'm part of the Estonian HR Society, not just a part of it, but an active member of it. So that's when you can build your network. And then I would also encourage staying in the game. And what I mean by that is to be visible. You have to attend events that are related to your career path or your profession. You have to be visible. If you can't attend these events, then you can use LinkedIn as a way to showcase your professionalism. So I post a lot about HR related subjects. And then when now you Google my name, or you search my name on LinkedIn, or you search top HR people in Estonia on LinkedIn, my name is going to pop up. So, I mean, whether I'm actually one of the top or the best in Estonia, that's another question. But LinkedIn is going to tell you, hey, if you're looking for the top HR professionals, Uwanma is right there at the top. So you have to post a lot, you have to be visible, you have to attend events that are related to your profession and your career. Those are going to boost your chances astronomically when it comes to finding a job. So I'm hoping that at least in the next 3 months, I would have found something. If I haven't, maybe I'll start a business. But yeah, so that's it from me. If you've got questions, you can ask, and yeah.